Hey guys, M13 here, and the topic for this video is success in dating. And some of you might be wondering why I'm giving this as a topic, as I haven't had any success in dating in many years, due to the fact I'm married to someone I dislike. You know, in some ways it actually sounds worse saying you dislike the person that you're married to rather than hating, because when you say you hate, when someone says they hate their wife, you just kind of assume that they're exaggerating and that they're just being dramatic. But when someone says, yeah, I really dislike my wife, you're like, ooh, that's like, because it doesn't sound like they're trying to be dramatic, so it sounds a lot more real almost. Anyways, yeah, I dislike her. Yeah, but when I was young, I used to date a lot, and that therefore gives me the right to make this video. So back off. And yeah, I used to date a lot when I was younger, and I'm not good looking, so that even more so gives me the right to make this video, because here I am, a not good looking guy who's dated hundreds and hundreds of women. Good looking. Well, except for that one, but I was drunk, so actually I'm sure there's more than one unattractive. Anyways, getting off topic. Yeah, okay, I'm going to focus on the peak of my dating career, the peak of my social life. Back when I was about 18 years old, I was hired as a dancer at my city's most exclusive nightclub. It was so exclusive, in fact, that they didn't want kids going there. So even though in Canada the legal age limit is 18 years old, for their club and only, you had to be 21, because they wanted it to be like a wealthy person's place, without a bunch of dumb kids coming in with their pants half off and boxers pulled up over there. So they wanted to make it exclusive. So they put an expensive cover charge, and they tried to raise the age limit, which lasted only a few months before the police told them they weren't allowed to do that. Anyways, but nonetheless, I was only 18 years old, and I got hired there as the host slash dancer. So here you have the most exclusive dance club in my whole city, and I was the guy that would be wearing a suit that would greet you at the door. And then I would go, and then they would announce me as like a performer, and I would go out on a stage and dance, like just me with the spotlight on me and a couple hundred people watching me. And yeah, that's when. And so the moral of this is that's when my ego was at its hugest. You know, at that time I just thought, yeah, I'm it, because. Yeah, it was it was just a cool job to have. Give me a break. So, and I used to just, I would like, here's an example of how big my ego was. I remember one time I was at another dance club, and there was a table of like, it was just a table of the most gorgeous women, or girls actually. They're all like 17, 18, and they were a group of professional ballerinas and models. They were all like, yeah, just ballerinas and models, and you can just imagine how stuck up that table was. And I see this table of ballerinas and models, and I just walk up, and I just kind of sit down at the table and just start talking about how great I was. I didn't even like, what's your name? I pretty much just sat down and started bragging. And then I got one of their numbers, and she was a good-looking girl. And I'm talking with her, I'm flirting with her, and whatnot, and she's interested. And then there was another girl that just really caught my eye, and she was just like, wow. And then I started talking to her, and then I mentioned, I said something like, I asked her for her number, and she says, well, you already have my friend's number, and I live with her. And then her friend, I just asked for, and then her friend, the one whose number I got first, she says to me, she goes, oh, well, now that you know that she lives with me, are you still going to call for me? Kind of cute, kind of sad. And I answered her, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, I'm like, of course not. If I call, I'll be calling for. Now that I know she lives there, why the fuck would I call you? And even after being like the biggest asshole, I still ended up dating the better looking one for years. That ended up being my first love, and I ended up being her first like serious boyfriend because she was so stuck up that no guys could pretty much get near her ever. Like I was pretty much like, even though she was 18 years old, I was pretty much her first boyfriend because she just shot down every guy that came near her. She was just like this prima donna, and is a rabbit. What the hell was that? Was that like a little? I think it was a little kid, but something with rabbit ears. Burn it with fire. Yeah. So the moral of the story is you